Do you love doing leg extensions, but do you miss doing them inside a commercial gym with a cable-driven machine and just an overall better resistance curve? But you don't want to drop the $500 that it's going to cost for the Freak Athlete or Rep Fitness model. Today, I'm going to show you how to convert your Ironmaster leg extension attachment from a plate-driven attachment to a cable-driven attachment for under 40 bucks. It's going to take less than 30 minutes to do this change as well. I'm going to walk you through that. We're going to talk about how they feel with this setup. Is it worth your time doing it? And then near the end of the video, I'm going to timestamp it. If you're more interested in this, I'm going to have a few Alibaba order updates and just giving you a timeline on what's to come with that. Before we dive into today's video, what's up everyone? My name's Dylan. This is Plates and Profits, where I help you build your home gym for less. Tomorrow, I'm actually getting in the Kodiak belt squat from Fringeport. Really excited to talk about that and do a review on that. And if you're trying to build your home gym at an affordable price, consider subscribing. Let's go ahead and dive into today's video on how to convert this Ironmaster leg extension. First things first, let's talk about the hardware that you're going to need to make this change. The first attachment is a belt squat attachment actually. Then you're going to need some bolts, washers, and nuts. You'll also need a pulley and cable. I'm gonna go ahead and link everything that you need in the description. We set the cable up as low as it could go on the vertical base of the leg extension. In order to make it a little easier for us, we put the cable pulley on and then drew some circles just so we know exactly where to drill. Next, and this step isn't totally necessary, but we used a nail just to slightly punch and puncture the wall just to make it a little easier to start that drilling. We started with the smallest drill bit just to create a hole and make it a little easier once we moved up to the full 3/8 inch drill bit. Also, not entirely necessary, but we used a cardboard box just to collect all the metal shavings that were flying off of this attachment, just to make it an easier cleanup. We'll start noticing more of those once we move up to the 3/8 inch. See what I mean? Nice having the cardboard for an easy cleanup. Getting the bottom hole here was a little trickier. It was really important to keep it as straight as possible so those nuts and bolts go through straight. But really just focus, go slow, and take your time, and it'll be totally good. Once you have your holes punched out, just go ahead and grab your bolts, washers, and pulley. Get everything connected there nice and tight. Thread the pulley through, and voila, you're going to have a cable-driven leg extension. So before we dive into talking about how these felt during the actual movement, one note I'd want to make is we elected to put the cable here because we were following a build that we found on Reddit. We also contemplated putting the cable on the very base of the leg, but this would only go through one of the supports. It would also be pretty challenging to tighten the nut down. And ultimately, this is where the most people on Reddit had put it and said they didn't experience any issues. I will say because of this, there is one point where the cable is rubbing the bottom of the Ironmaster leg extension. We tested what the cable motion would have looked like if we put it on the bottom base, and it wouldn't rub as bad. Ultimately, we chose to put it on the vertical upright just to get more support, and because most people on Reddit weren't complaining about this. So were those people on Reddit wrong, or does this really not make too big of a difference? And I can't really speak from a longevity standpoint. This could cause the cable to fray, but I can speak to just how it feels. And truthfully, you really don't notice it. If you look here, you'll even see me looking around, and I was looking, this was the first set I had done with it, and I was almost convinced that maybe the cable wasn't rubbing after all, because I just couldn't feel it. So I was really convinced that, hey, it must not be running into anything. So if a concern is the cable running into the bottom base affecting how the movement actually feels, don't really be too worried about that. It feels pretty good. Overall, the tension remains pretty constant throughout the movement and feels really solid. If I had any gripes, it's almost just with the Ironmaster build itself. You can't really get a great extension on these. I've considered adding some yoga pads tied around the foam pads just so I can get a better extension and range of motion at the bottom of this movement. But again, that's not an issue with the cable system. That's just an issue with the Ironmaster leg extension. Leg curls also feel pretty good on this. I want to say you might not be able to pull up as far as you want, and I think to solve that you just have to get a longer cable travel. My home gym is really small, so I got the smallest size cable that would fit in my gym. Again, if you'll notice on this motion, you can really see how much bend there is in that cable from hitting the bottom of that leg extension attachment. And it might sound crazy, but you really don't feel that. The tension feels really smooth all throughout this motion, and it's a really positive change from the plate loaded system. So overall, if you're contemplating this change, I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up, strong recommendation for 40 bucks and about 30 minutes of your time. I think it makes a pretty big difference. I think it feels really smooth overall. And my thought process is if that cable ends up fraying and not working well, it's 7 bucks to buy a new cable. So get a new cable and you're good to go. What's also nice about this is it's really easy to take off that belt squat attachment and then you could still do plate loaded ones. So it's not like you're totally all in on cable only at this point. I think this is a really nice stopgap between this and the dialed motion one that's going to be coming out in a couple months. And that one's probably going to be, I think they said $800. So it's gonna have to be really good. Otherwise, I think I'm just gonna stick with this. I'm using this with the Freak Athlete ABX, works totally fine. And I think right now the Ironmaster leg extension attachment is $190. So plus 40 with all of these things, you're looking at $230 for a cable-driven leg extension leg developer. Pretty cool. Let's talk about the first Alibaba order update. I am expecting to receive a pallet of adjustable dumbbells. If you've been following my channel, you know I received one 100-pound adjustable dumbbell, which I really like. I think they're gonna be great. I think they're the ones. And those are literally in Long Beach right now. They just cleared customs. I just got some updates from that. So I'm hoping to receive that shipment sometime this week. Really excited to get those in. I think those are going to be the dumbbells that I will be using as my daily drivers in my home gym. So I'm excited to talk about those, do some comparisons with the rep times pep-ins. It's gonna be fun. And on the topic of rep times pep-in, I know I've been teasing quite a bit that I'm going to be getting the Alibaba rep times pep-in clone. So just a little update on that. I know a lot of people have expressed that they weren't able to get them because there's a really high minimum order quantities, and how I was able to get them, I was actually working with this supplier for a large order of dumbbell stands, which I'm really excited to get. Check out the video of them, they just completed these. So I already had this large order set up, and then they sent me their catalog of other items they have, and they had the rep times pep-in. And I noticed it had a pretty high minimum order quantity, but hey, it doesn't hurt to ask. So I asked if there was any way they could include 2 of them on my shipment of my adjustable dumbbell stands. And I think because I'm already placing kind of a large order for dumbbell stands, they were willing to work with me on that. The latest updates I've got from those is they just finished all the stands and they're also ready with these 2 adjustable rep times pep-in clones. You'll notice the only difference is they have this square. I wish I could have got the octagonal, but hey, I'm not gonna complain. So these have not officially shipped yet. It sounds like they're doing some final checks on everything, and then they will be boarding a ship and coming to the US. So I think it's gonna be, if I'm being optimistic, a month, but if I'm being realistic, I think it's gonna be about 6 more weeks until I get my hands on those. But I kind of wanted to keep you guys in the loop what to expect. I'm still probably gonna be posting some teasers about them because I'm really excited. I'm excited to do the comparison, see how they feel different. Maybe they'll make a little less noise. But hey, be sure to give me a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the channel if you wanna see some of this content that's gonna be coming out in the coming months. I'm really excited to show y'all everything that's in store. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. I hope you learned something. Hopefully you're gonna go convert your Ironmaster leg extension and save yourself about $200-300. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.